Hello guys and welcome to my new video. This video is a little bit different. I'm going to be looking into the future. So patch 7.25 when Tomb of Sargeras raid instance is actually released, and I'm looking at this is a very early preview. This is a very early look at the trinkets that are available in Tomb of Sargeras. I'm just going to be doing a little overview of what the trinket effects are like. Keep in mind that I won't really look into values because values of heals and things like that, because they probably will be changed in the future. So I'm just going to be commenting on the effects, which probably most likely won't change. So this is going to be general healing guide, but there'll be an emphasis on a resto druid healing trinkets as well. So the first boss actually drops nothing. Demonic Inquisition drops a trinket called Barbaric Mindslaver, sorry. So it gives a default intellect stat, which is really nice on any healing trinket. That's one of the best things you can do. If a trinket gives you a secondary stat such as haste, mastery, crit, the special effect has to be really good. Just a rule of thumb: if you do not get a intellect primary stat, the secondary effect has to do around at least 5% of your total healing for a fight for it to be worth using it. This is just a little tip before. So your healing effects have a chance to do an additional 80 to 100,000 healing. This occurs more often at low mana. So I can't comment on how good it is. I mean, the effect could scale off our mastery, crit, versatility and stuff, or it might not. It really depends. How often it procs, I have no idea. Unfortunately, 7.25 PTO is not available at the moment, and I cannot buy the trinkets. I mean, it sounds pretty good. It gives you intellect. This occurs more often at low mana. Rest of druids are always having mana issues, so this could proc quite a lot. It could be quite decent, depending on how the secondary stat scales. We can move on to the Charm of the Rising Tide. So again, an intellect trinket. The secondary effect doesn't have to be too strong for it to be considered a decent replacement for what Nighthold currently offers. So it's an unused trinket, which is always preferable over anything that procs, especially for healers. While it remains stationary, gain 400 haste every 1 second, stacking up to 10 times. Last 20 seconds, minute and a half cooldown. Right away, the stationary effect is working against resto druids. As a resto druid, this kind of removes your best thing about being resto druid, which is movement and healing on the go. So right away, this is not going to be super strong on druids. It could be quite good for anyone that needs mastery and any of the healers who are stationary, which is probably most of the other healers beside resto druid. So again, this could be quite a decent replacement. Again, anyone that needs haste, anyone that is probably stationary, things like Resto Shaman, Holy Paladin are pretty stationary. I'm not sure though if haste is really that good for them. But again, it's not that bad, I guess. Again, so another trinket, Chalice of Moonlight. Your healing, again, intellect. I'm loving the primary stats. Your healing spells have a chance to increase your critical strike or haste by 4,000 for 10 seconds. This effect grants critical strike during the day or haste during the night. So this is what I like to call the Night Elf trinket. This is really awkwardly phrased. I actually don't like this at all. I mean, you get different stats based on the time of day. It's really silly. I mean, it doesn't add any happiness to using this trinket. I mean, I don't have to do anything. It's like if I happen to raid at night or day, I'm getting this. And I really don't like the second. I mean, this is basically similar to Cake. The effect lasting for 10 seconds is quite short, and the proc, I'm not sure what the proc is going to be like. This can be decent, but I mean, what's the point of creating something that you can't really control? So I mean, imagination, Blizzard. Let's move on to C-Star of Depthmother. So like I said before, this is actually a versatility trinket. This is the first one that doesn't give you a primary status intellect. Again, for Resto Druid's versatility is not bad at all. If you actually have little versatility, this might be, versatility might be one of the best stats for you. I'm not quite sure if I think it's quite good for Mystery of Monks as well. So this is, and again, equip effect. Your Wild Growth has a chance to grant you Ocean's Embrace, healing your nearest injured ally for 6,000 every 0.3 seconds for 10 seconds. So this is, like, it's really hard to judge. It all depends on how this hot basically is scaled. How is it scaled? Does it scale with mastery? Actually, the funny thing is that if this hot scales with mastery, so if when you use the trinket, when you use Wild Growth, it's actually really nice that it procs from Wild Growth, because Wild Growth is actually a good spell, considering the Elisande trinket that procs from Healing Touch, which is absolutely useless. This is something that's a better step forward, but then again, the hot, we have to see how it scales. Is it affected by crit? The funny part is, if the hot actually works with our mastery, therefore it actually applies a hot and increases your healing done by how much mastery you have, this would be one of the best trinkets. But yeah, again, I don't think Blizzard is ever going to make a trinket that stacks with mastery for Resto Druids, which will make it too overpowered basically. But it could be good. I mean, it doesn't give a primary stat, so the secondary should be at least 5% of your healing for it to be worth using it. So it's not a bad concept. Let's move on to the last trinket of the day. No, the second last trinket actually. There's one before Fallen Avatar, which is called Archive of Fate. So we're moving on to secondary stat trinkets here, which gives you 1200 critical strike. Again, not bad for Resto Druids, as Resto Druids can basically use any stats. And this is actually an unused effect trinket. Channels a cleansing matrix into an ally, healing them for 200,000 over 2.4 seconds. If the channel is fully completed, the target is healed for an additional 60,000 over 10 seconds and 2-minute cooldown. So this is something that requires actually to channel for 2.5 seconds. Straight away sounds bad. Anything that requires to do a 2.4 second channel is pretty lame, especially for Resto Druids who have instant hots. I mean, the numbers don't seem to be too great. 2-minute cooldown is quite long. Crit, again, is no intellect. This seems to be, right now, seems to be quite bad. If this does not get buffed, I see this being as probably one of the worst trinkets for Resto Druids and probably for everyone else. So let's move on to the last one, and actually, I actually quite like this one. This is the Kil'jaeden Trinkets, which again gives you a secondary stat. It comes along with 1225 mastery. It has a unused effect, which is always nice. So it marks a friendly player with Guiding Hand, healing them for 3000 every 2.4 seconds for 2 minutes, which is huge, very long. If they fall below 35% health, Guiding Hand is consumed to grant them a shield that prevents 500,000 damage for 15 seconds. 2-minute recharge, 2 charges. So this is actually seems to be very nice. Why? Because it's a smart death prevention trinket. It applies a hot basically for 2 minutes on 2 targets. For 2 minutes, we gotta consider this. A lot of the fights in Nighthold right now last for 2 minutes. So this will last for the whole duration, and the minute they fall, and the minute the person falls below 35%, it procs a shield. This is probably going to be a biz for 5-mans, because 2 shields on 2 targets in 5-man is half of your team. Again, it gives you mastery, which is biz for Resto Druid in 5-mans. This is a really exciting trinket while doing Mythic Plus. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work in raids. That's a big mystery right now. It depends on the progression fight. It depends if you tanks need additional healing, if they're going to fall, if there's a chance of them dying and things like that. But by far, the best trinket for 5-mans I've seen in this expansion. It seems to be really nice for Resto Druids, and for anyone that use mastery, it'll be really good. So this was just a really early overview of some of the trinkets available in Tomb of Sargeras with the patch 7.25. Let me know what you think about these trinkets. If you don't play a Resto Shaman, let me know what trinket you feel is the best for your class. I want to get more of the other healers involved in these discussions as well. And thank you for watching this guide, and I'll see you in my next video.